my mirror. Hey, Chad Scott, Whiskey Gas Garage. So glad you guys are along for the ride as we test drive our Triumph TR7 chassis, frame, engine, whatever you want to call it. We're backing it out of the garage for the first time. Seems to still be running. Transmission apparently is doing transmission-y things. And I'm sure in the town of Berkeley, Colorado, completely legal. And it has a whiskey gas garage station. Hop on in here, Junior. We're going to take on this FedEx truck. That sounded perfect. That sounded just fine. Maybe the FedEx truck. All right. Nothing illegal about that. You see the look on that guy's eyes? That guy was like, what the hell was that? It's like a convertible with that nothing to convert. We have converted. We've made it convertible. Not the world's first. Listen now. Listen how quiet that engine is.
We have an able.
Now, that being said, we only have sort of 3 brakes. We have the rear brakes and a right front brake. Remember, I cut the line on the other one. No, I'm not going to scratch out in my neighborhood because I do still have to live here. But let's go forward. I think there's a FedEx guy stopping at our house. Let's put her back in the old whiskey gas garage here. No problem there. That sounded like brakes. And it was okay because I had the title with me the whole time in case we got pulled over. Y'all hang in, hang out, and hang on. This is going to be fun.
Well, if your ride's broke down and looking sad, got a clunker car, it's just plain bad. Don't you fret, don't you worry, don't you sass. Just bring it on down to Chad's Whiskey Gas. He's Chad, he's wild, he's got the speed. Fixing up rust buckets, planting a new seed. In the Whiskey Gas Garage, you know it's true. He'll get that old forgotten clunker feeling brand new.
Well, that was something. Nothing to see here, just a father and his son going on a Sunday drive in a quarter of a car, or what was left of that. So yeah, does it run and drive? Well, hell yeah, it runs and drives. It ran and drive before, and now it still runs and drives. It's a lot faster. You know, you give the old girl a little bit of a tummy tuck and a facelift, and you kind of, you know, get her on the fat shot. She run pretty quick. So that happened, and you were there to witness it. It's all right. My next door neighbor is a police officer. He said it was completely legal. So I'm going to go with it was completely legal. I'm sure it wasn't. So we're back, and as we mentioned in our little drive there, we only have 3 brakes because they decided to put a brake line in the nose cone of this car, and I chopped it in half twice before I realized it was a brake line. And then we had our glove hanging and all our fluid in it. And so we cut all that stuff out. We couldn't get any 3/16 brake line. And to be very honest, I've never replaced a brake line, never flared a brake line, never done that. You know, it's in the disclaimer. Doctor, professional wrestler, yeah, drummer in a country band, of course, rescue swimmer, jumped out of helicopter, saved people in the water. Yeah, did all that. Flared brake lines? No, not in my job description. But today we're going to change all that because today we have this. Oh, look at what we got here. So this is a kit. Now, my buddy Tim turned me on to this next door, my next door neighbor. So this kit comes with 3/16 line, 25 feet, a Capri double flaring tool for 3/16 line, a cutting tool, which works for 3/16 line apparently, and then a little bendy tool. Now, I've never done this, so we get to do this together, which is going to be kind of cool. I think we'll have fun doing this. So I worked on it a little bit, did my first test drive of it, and was able to do that. That is a flare. So I took the fittings off the old ones because I didn't want to have the wrong fittings. So I just chopped them off. They were still in pretty good shape. That one goes to the, with the concrete. And then the other one will go on the distribution block. So we got one fitting there. It's for, like I said, first time I'd ever done it. The directions are, to be honest with you, are just pretty darn simple. So they are right here on the back of the flare tool. That's why you always keep the case. You know, there are 6 steps in the final step, and I'm not even sure I looked at the final step. Doesn't matter, can't see it with my glasses anyway. So that was pretty simple to do. This tool is super simple to use, tells you how to do it. Bendy tool, pretty self-explanatory. I'm sure we'll figure it out as we getting ready to go into the bendy phase of this operation. So here we are. We're going to do this for the first time together. Try stuff. Even if you screw it up, you're out $35 if you break everything here. Not going to happen, but you know, try stuff even if you don't know how to do it. We're going to try this for the first time together. Y'all hang in, hang out, and hang on. Let's see what happens. All right, so I really didn't have to use my bendy tool all that much because we made big, broad, sweeping lines. Now, the other one had like 73 bends and 12-degree angles at a 5-degree pitch. No, this nickel line is nothing like the line we took off of it. This is very flexible. Whoa, and I almost fell right out of my chair. You know, you should always check that these things are locked. Important safety tip from the Whiskey Gas Garage. And again, have we been day drinking? Of course we've been day drinking. We're Whiskey Gas. But that being said, we're going to do one of the most un-Whiskey Gas things we've ever done. And that's we're going to actually follow the directions. You know, brakes seem like you should probably follow the directions. It's important, especially when you're doing it for like the second time you've ever flared a line. So we're going to take our super fancy flare gun tool thing. Capri, you know, I used to wear capris. I didn't. That's wrong on so many levels. So it says that we insert our. It's like a little guide. You put the little guide in here. You insert it, and then you open this up, and then you insert your line till it meets the guide. And then once the line meets the guide, then you tighten these two guys down. So that's a little 10 millimeter. And of course, there are no 10 millimeter sockets because we don't believe in those. So those are gone. So once your guide's in, then you tighten up these two nuts here. So you're basically, I guess, just putting your tube in the right position to receive the flare. And this will do, I think, a double flare, single flare, whatever that means. Woo! I could do a Ric Flair. Okay, so we're going to do some flares. So we'll tighten these up good. And then once we get these nice and tight, or maybe it says to remove the other nut first. Damn it, I said we were going to read the directions. I didn't read the directions. But we're going to remove that, which may or may not have been in there tight enough to start with. They're really more suggestions and guidelines than they are actual directions, but you know what I mean. So then we're going to get our little flare tool here, and 2 different sizes of flare tool. One says OP1, and the other one says 3/16. So it says you take the OP1 and screw it in here, and then while firmly grasping your tool, we're going to take our 17 millimeter and we're going to create our flare. Oh, it's always good to put your, oh, whew. I was looking to make sure I put the fitting on first. Always good to put your fitting on before you make the flare. That fitting, as you know, we had to go to True Value and we got a little screw in here. It's a metric 10 fine thread one, and it is a kind of a rare little screw. So I wanted to keep the same fittings. I'm sure that's, you know, pretty common brake fitting on these older British vehicles. I don't know if you saw either on our Facebook page or YouTube, we're thinking about a 1952 Morris Minor as our next project. Now, yeah, we've got projects. You can look out the door. We've got projects. We've got the R5, which we're taking on the Poverty Tour, the R5 Turbo TX Renault that we're taking to run that duct tape drags. That's the 17th and the 18th of October. And on the 19th, it's for sale. So if you know anybody that wants a Renault R5 that's in just immaculate shape, I don't mean good shape, I mean immaculate shape. We've really done a lot of work to get that car running and driving and doing incredible things. Anybody who wants that, we're going to be selling that one. And then we're going to be moving on. We're going to continue on our Yugo project, of course. Of course, that's for Poverty Tour 26. That one's going to be a little bit longer term project, but we'll have some stuff in the middle there. And one of those things is going to be hopefully that Morris Minor on a run and drive. Hasn't run in 30 years. Got a flathead 4-cylinder engine, 0 to 60 and never, because its top speed is 58 miles an hour. But all that being said, there's a lot of fun to be had with this thing. So let me know down in the comments there if you think that might be a good idea. All right, now what does it say to do next? All right, it says to loosen this. All right. So apparently the flare has been created through the power of, woo. You know, I'll tell you a little story about Ric Flair. His son, David, was having his very first match in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Rick was promoting the show at the high school. And Hulk Hogan was coming in and some of the other guys. And I got to work that show. Jimmy, two times, so nice you say it twice. Got to work that show with David Flair and Reed Flair. It was Reed's first match. David had been in the business a little while. And as you know, Reed OD'd some years later. But I had the opportunity that night to work Reed Flair in one of his very early matches. He had worked the Nasty Boys and some exhibition stuff, but not anything big. And I get to work Reed, and I had a manager with me, and Reed put me in the figure 4 leg lock while Rick put my manager in the figure 4 leg lock, and we both tapped out, you know, and lost. But I think about Reed often, you know, good kid, a lot of talent, a lot of charisma, a lot like his dad, a lot more like his dad than David ever was. But he, yeah, he's with the Angels, but yeah, what a good kid. Wrestling's a tough sport, and weird things happen, but a lot of fun. Hey, if you want to see a little bit more about all my wrestling stuff, you can go to the Jimmy Two Times. That's actually the name of the Facebook page, Jimmy Two Times. So nice you say it twice. You can check that out. There's matches dating back to Smoky Mountain Wrestling in the mid-90s. That's how old I am. God, I just said that out loud. The mid-90s. Most of you were born in the mid-90s. So, yeah, but you can check out stuff on there. Or if you're a country music fan, you can go on tour with the Whiskey Wranglers Band. You can check out the Whiskey Wranglers Band page on Facebook. Or we've been around so long that we have a MySpace page. I said MySpace. Okay, so we've now flared that tool. Look at that. It's flared. There's a little mushroom-looking Mario flare thing. Looks fine, right? Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to lube. I know. I said it. It comes with this little lube that you're actually supposed to put on the end of your flare before you actually flare it. I'm gonna pull it on at the end just to make me feel like I lubed up. You should always lube up before you do this job with your hands. So we've got this flared in. We've got it working. We've got it looking right. So we're going to take this fitting. Now it may be time to actually use my bendy tool because it's got to go straight up and down. So let's see here. Looks like you kind of just do this. We're learning this together, guys. All right, so, okay, that makes sense. All right, that's something. let's see here. There's the brake boost. I actually want that line to go under the brake boost. I wonder if I can pop that off or just bendy it. That nickel line, I'm telling you, is just incredibly flexible. So we'll go down here near the steering gear, under that. Oh, there's even a little clip here that looks like it'll hold it in. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let me get my universal wrench. So we're gonna take out this screw that we have in the distribution block that I put there yesterday while I waited for the righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. You never know how many times in a life that you're going to say righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, but it's going to be too many. So we put the screw in the distribution block so we could take it on our test drive. Did I mention our completely legal test drive? I don't want anybody to be confused by the laws in Berthoud, Colorado. The garden spot of Colorado. Whatever that means. We're called the garden spot of Colorado because we grow more hops and barley in Berthoud, Colorado for Coors beer than anywhere else in Colorado. So really, no Berthoud, no Coors. And if you've been watching, no Coors, no Smokey and the Bandit, which is really what this car reminds me of. So put these crush washers on here, and let me tell you, they did their job. All right, now we're going to try to pull this out and not lose a ton of fluid. We're going to lose fluid. It's just the nature of the beast. So let me get a shop towel under here, catch this. That was a super long screw. It has two giant nuts that I think came out of the front condenser when we were doing that I used as spacers because that's just, that's the right way to do it. All right, so there's the nut that we used, and then a couple of crush washers there for just to hold that. And that is going to if we have done that in the right way, let's see here. So you got to put your thing up here and then bend it, I suppose. All right, there we go. Ow, jammed my thumb. Okay, thumb story. I was working a match with, you guys probably, old school wrestler named the One Man Gang, Ronnie Garvin, and in ICW back in the 90s, and we're working this dog rope match. I've got the dog thing tied around my hand and broke my thumb during the match, and for the last 30 plus years, that thumb, every time I put too much pressure on it, we get that. So now you know, stay out of dog rope matches with Ronnie Garvin. He'll tell you it was my fault, and he'd be right. I was young and dumb and not listening, and he made sure that I listened on the next match. We did that match, I don't know, 10 times probably, over the next 6 months, we were, running circuits. So we were going to different towns. And, yeah, he made sure that I listened from then on. Don't be a green rookie in wrestling who's going to go in there and think you're going to run the match. You're not. But good guy. Still keep up with Ronnie. Let's see here. Now I see why you need that bendy tool. These tight bends are pretty important. One of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to misthread this into your distribution box. That is the cross-threading is the Loctite that you don't want. All right, give me just a second here. We gotta put a washer on this. When I started this channel a couple of months ago, I've been working on cars my whole life. I grew up in rural Eastern Kentucky, and we grew up poor. I mean, poor. If you didn't fix stuff, you didn't have stuff. And it went on to make something of myself, whatever that means. And, I said when I started this channel, I'm going to try to keep this a PG channel. But I'm not always a PG guy. So there were some words bubbling up because I couldn't get this thing started that weren't going to be PG. So, it's always better just to take a break and let you guys not have to suffer the indignities of my foul language. So we're going to finish putting this one in. We got that started in there. We had to do 75 more bends. So the bending tool, absolutely essential if you're going to do this the right way, apparently. So, and I haven't lost too much fluid, but brake fluid is slicker than owl poo. Look at that, I even went with poo. It's slick, so it's gotten everywhere. So we're going to tighten this up in the distribution block. Tighten, but don't over tighten. So that should take care of that. We'll keep an eye on it to see if we can get that snap down in there. So Holden is at the gym right now getting ready to join the Air Force intelligence analyst community thing. He leaves December 16th. Couldn't be prouder of him. He's a good kid, and he's really helped me out getting this channel going. And for the last 20 years as well, he's a pretty good kid. Oh, there he is. I was just talking about him. I swear to God, I was just saying good things about him, and he showed up. And there's a cat.
Oh, there's a cat?
There's a cat. I don't know whose cat that is. Meow, 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 meow. But we have a cat in the house. I think it's Tim's cat.
Oh.
I don't know. Tim loaned us his tools. I guess the cat's coming back to get him.
I guess so.
So, but Holden I was going to just get your help to bleed brakes, but we can do that another time. I know you're getting ready to go off and do things because you have clothes on. If you've ever had a teenage son or in his early 20s and he has clothes on before 6 p.m., he's probably not staying up all night yelling at his computer. Why did you shoot me in the back? I don't understand. What games do you play, Holden? You're a gamer.
I could not even begin to detail that.
They're wildly inappropriate games?
Most of the time.
Yeah, I think that's Tim's. You might want to run him back over to Tim and tell him we had a visitor. So
Is this Tim's cat?
I think it is Tim's cat. 100% Tim has a black cat.
I'm gonna go.
That may be Tim's cat.
Tim? We got a visitor. No,
It is Tim's cat. Good. All right, he came back over to get his flare tools. So we've got this back in. We'll get the. I'm just gonna let the. I'm gonna let the bleeder valve go on that front passenger brake, and then we'll let it gravity bleed for a while and see how it does. Then we'll come back, and then I'm gonna teach Holden how to bleed brake lines. We've never done that father and son thing, but he's still a little traumatized after yesterday's drive. Would you say that's a fair statement?
Yeah, that's a very fair statement.
Yeah, but can you explain to our audience here the look on the FedEx guy's face when we were playing chicken with him? Because I'm fairly convinced we were playing chicken. You might have to get a little closer because we were kind of angled down.
Well, I can't really say what he looked like. I can just say it kind of looked like this,
Yeah, a little stunned, a little shocked,
and just surprised that we were driving.
and a little what the hell. So I'm gonna get these brakes gravity bled, and then we've got 10,000 measurements we have to take. We set the hood on it. We showed you a picture of that, what it looks like with the hood on it, the Yugo hood. But we've still got, these pinch welds right here. We've got to literally cut right at the pinch weld, including all these fender pieces. And then back here, we've got to cut that back, but without taking out the A-pillar. Then we've got to shave out 2.5 to 3 inches off both rockers. And that's just to get the Yugo to even think about fitting on there. And then, of course, after we get all that done, then we've got to weld some tabs in place, and then we got to cut the Yugo apart. And then my next door neighbor, who's the police officer I was telling you about earlier, him and his 3 sons are coming over. Tim's coming over. Holden's going to be here, and then the 7 of us are going to lift the body off the Yugo and set it on this chassis. And then we're going to put some self-tappers in it and some glue.
We're gonna hope it works.
And we're going to hope it works. And that's all we can do is hope. So y'all hang in, hang out, hang on. And I'll let Holden push the button so I can sit here and look really cool. So just push the button. That's the button. Push it. All right. So Holden and I got the brakes bled. I talked him up, said he was going to the gym. Turns out he was going to McDonald's, the opposite of the gym. So, yeah, I'm not going to say that it's factory, but there's our new brake line down there. There's our old brake lines up here. And they've got some swoopies to them, and mine's got a little swoopy to bring it down and then over that existing brake line and then kind of under that booster and then back along the firewall behind the battery and then eventually through that hole there and then over to there, which, there it is. So it's a brake line. We squished on it. We had no leaks at all. We let it gravity bleed for just a minute. And then, when he got back, push, hold, and out it popped. So, what we're going to do now is just see, just test to see if we got any more. We know we have more brake pedal, but, that doesn't mean that you actually have more brake. All right, so there's that. We're going to put that on. That's our fuel pump that just kicked on. I've got that run hot to our coil. And then that white wire is the fan for the electric fan for up here. And then in front of that, we'll be adding a new transmission cooler, which we're waiting on Amazon to send us. That transmission cooler has seen better days. We're going to put a little one over the other side of that, other side of the radiator there. The Yugo should sit right in front of it. So let's see here. Remember, our starter drags forever, so don't expect it to start. Yes, it started well the other day. Don't expect that all the time. So let's see. If it would have started with, that'd have been awesome. Get a little love in it there. Got to get a solenoid. Or really, I think I'm just going to go ahead and replace the starter. These aren't on every parts store shelf, unfortunately. So probably going to have to order the starter off of eBay or maybe Rimmer Brothers, but I'd really rather not get it out of England if I didn't have to. See, it doesn't happen well all the time. Oh, we almost had it. Let's give it a little gas. Most annoying thing in the world. But my first TR7 did exactly the same thing. Just not engaging long enough. If you haven't experienced this, you should. It is a true test of your patience. Let's get a little warm. Yep, that is smoke coming off the battery. It's probably okay. There we go. You see 3 hands, that's all. One to hold the camera, one to hold the starter button, and one to give it a little gas. Sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and turn the fan on. Not that we're going to run it long enough to get hot. It's always just better to have it on. We're still running. Oh yeah, we got so much more brake than we had before. Oh wow. It didn't go clunk because we had it in gear. I mean, I need to give it a little bit more gas, but oh wow, yeah. And we got all kinds of stopping power, so yeah. That is what we were after. So now we have all 4 brakes, they're bled, we've got a new brake line. Whoa. That's where that fuel pump was running, had a little extra gas in there, flooding it out. And then of course we just turned the key off right here. And then down here. And our fuel pump, we'll just disconnect that before it melts. All right, yeah, probably not gonna melt. Probably a little warmer than maybe it should be. But so that's where we are. You know, like I said, there's a ton of measurements we got to do. We got to clip right along in here, I think, on this pinch weld to get all of this loveliness to fit onto here. We're going to have to take 3.5 inches-ish. So really about that pinch weld. Just the inside of that pinch weld. Fuel line runs down through there, so we got to be careful. We got to take the rockers off on both sides, again, to get that to lay over. And then we'll just weld a piece right underneath the rocker. And this will actually just set on that, and then we'll graft the two together. We're going to keep, of course, all the inner fender wells. We know the distance between the shock towers is the same. Distance from the front to the shock tower is the same. Gets a little wonky when you get from the front of the windshield. We're going to leave all this on. I initially cut this out. I didn't cut the underside because I was like, let's wait and see how the new dash sits on this. What we know is that mount that holds the steering wheel in is going to be shortened significantly because the Yugo dash is just a heck of a lot smaller than the TR7 dash was. So we'll move all of that forward, and fortunately that should be a pretty easy thing to do, is to move all that forward. If we keep the Yugo steering wheel, we'll have to do some mods there, but if we keep this steering wheel, then it's just shortening it up, and there's plenty of room for that to slide in another 6 or 8 inches closer to that firewall. So we'll definitely utilize that and move all of that structure forward if we need to. We're going to keeping, like we talked about, we're going to keep this right here, this structure, because a couple of reasons. One, the gas tank's there. It'll turn the Yugo into a 2-seater, but we're actually doing some really cool stuff back here. Once we cut this down, I'm going to surprise you on that. And if you'd like your own Whiskey Gas Garage sticker, happy to send you one for nothing. I mean, they're just whatever they are, 12 cents a piece or whatever we paid for them. So there's stuff, and we're going to keep at it. So y'all hang in, hang out, and hang on. We'll maybe by the next episode we'll have a look at the Morris Minor. We're going to go take a look at it tomorrow in Denver, Colorado. So we're going to head out there and see what we may be able to get into. Like I said, this is the goal. Remember, a Yugo that's actually going to be about 3.5 inches lower to the ground than it was before, which will actually, I think, look pretty cool. We'll see. And then, you know, but the real goal, the thing coming up, we got the R5 there. The R5, we are going to be the R5 Turbo TX. We're going to be taking the duct tape drags and trying to run a under 30-second quarter mile. Yep, seems like that's very doable. Now, again, we could have taken the Thunderbird, which we didn't, which would do great. It's a supercharged V6. We could have taken James Jeep. Jeep, she'll shoot me in the face. James Bronco. Or we could have taken Holden's car, which actually probably would have done well. Or we could have taken the V10 Excursion, but not really built for speed, believe it or not. All those extra Vs, not very helpful. So that's where we're headed. Y'all hang in, hang out, and hang on. We'll catch you next time around.
Well, if your ride's broke down and looking sad, got a clunker car, it's just plain bad. Don't you fret, don't you worry, don't you sass. Just bring it on down to Chad's Whiskey Gas. He's Chad, he's wild, he's got the speed.